Chairman. Good morning, Admiral. Thank you so much for coming before our committee again. I want to talk to you about a familiar issue. Right in my district, Dubuque, Iowa, obviously is home to the Coast Guard Waiakanda cutter. The Waiakanda and its crew really maintain the critical operations to protect the operations and the vitality of the upper Mississippi. And those cutters like the Waiakanda really help stabilize the transit, shipping through our channels. Getting those products to market is what we hear about all the time from our producers back home. And I mean, that really accounts for trillions of dollars of economic activity every year and greatly benefits the state of Iowa. So ensuring that the cutter and the Waterways Commerce Cutter Program is a priority going forward for the region. It's an absolute priority for me. I hope it's a priority for you. So can you confirm that it is a top priority for you to maintain the Waterways Commerce Cutter Program?
The Waterways Commerce Cutter are absolutely a priority for the Coast Guard. Some of the cutters that the Waterway Commerce Cutter will replace are 75-plus years old. It's $5.4 trillion of commerce through the inland waterways and all of our port system. This is absolutely one of the acquisition priorities.
That's great, because I think we did the math on it, and the Waiakanda is almost 60 years old. So my staff had a chance to go out on it. I'm hopeful I get a chance to go very soon to see it as well. While it's, let's just say it this way, it's maintaining its operational capacity, but it is very clear that it is an aged vessel, and we need to do something there. So I appreciate your budget request, trying to fund 2 additional cutters, prioritizing that quick build, and of course the turnaround as well for those vessels. So is there a prioritization for which of those cutters would be subject to the replacement with additional funding? And I would certainly hope the Waiakanda would be on the list.
Yeah, so the Waiakanda is on the list. There is a prioritization. The Waiakanda is not necessarily in that first tranche of cutters, but it is on the list as a priority to be replaced. And, we work through the decisions on how the replacement, based on age and need. As you said, the fleet is quite old. And so, the budget request in the 25 budget helps continue to build out that program of record of 30 to ensure that we're able to replace all of those aging assets, including the Waiakanda.
Right. Are you working with the program's prime contractor to keep the program moving forward? Any intention of canceling or recompeting the contract for Waterways Commerce Cutter?
We are working closely with the prime contractor, Bird On. To recompete would cause both cost and time delays. This is a critical asset, and we're committed to the prime contractor and moving it forward, and you see the budget request that reflects that.
Great. Well, I look forward to working with you, and again, I hope I can get out and see it in person very soon, so we can just check in to make sure that it's in tip-top shape, at least can get through until we can Band-Aid it until we can make it a replacement. Just want to get in another kind of follow up to what our ranking member talked about when it comes to fentanyl and illicit drug trafficking. I think China is certainly trying to bypass any legal channels and go around ports of entry, and they're trying to strengthen their supply chains and manufacturing here. We had the acting commissioner from CBP in yesterday. He was talking a little bit about China kind of working to circumvent these, getting around the de minimis, and trying to get across our maritime and our physical borders as well. So how are you really, and you mentioned obviously some of the other drugs that you're trying to counter, but what are some of the tactics that you're taking to really counter these measures from getting into our country? And do you need any other tools and resources to be able to maximize those efforts?
Yeah, so as I discussed our efforts at sea, primarily marijuana and cocaine being interdicted, but they are being moved by the same illegal cartels and organizations, and so countering them broadly, both with at the land border, which is not the Coast Guard role, but at sea becomes critical. The Interdiction Committee, which is a broad federal government committee, works to integrate some of those both land border focused agencies and the Coast Guard, Joint Interagency Task Force, and others, to ensure that we're looking at the problem set holistically and including fentanyl, so that we can work to avoid seams in our own structure, federal structure, with regard to counter narcotics. I'm looking forward to hosting that committee in Puerto Rico here shortly, where we will talk about fentanyl and other drug challenges that are facing the United States with regard to illegal flows.
Are you seeing increased aggression from, obviously the cartel traffic is one thing. Are you seeing any increases in other adversarial encounters? Is there any incidents of that that your crews are seeing?
Yeah, we are at sea 365, 24/7. We pretty much weekly have a weekly or daily narcotics interdiction at sea, go fast, semi-submersibles, low fast. And what the best strategy for that is a Coast Guard cutter with a helicopter that has airborne use of force and an over-the-horizon pursuit boat. And then when we have MPA, that gives us competitive advantage. That gives us advantage over the bad guys in the cartel. And we continue to put that force package together to counter those flows at sea.
Well, look forward to continuing to work with you on that. I think this is certainly a national security issue, and it's escalating by the day with many of our adversaries. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral. I yield back.
The gentlelady from Connecticut